welcome back. That is Timothy Chalamet as Bob Dylan in A Complete Unknown. The film is up for 8 Oscars this Sunday, one of which costume design. It's nominated alongside 4 other films.
From period dramas to bold futuristic films, these nominees have turned costumes into storytelling magic. They are part of it. And with us now to break down this year's nominees is fashion and costume historian Shelby Ivey Christie. What a fun job. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Anytime I get to chit chat about fashion and nerd out, I'm excited. So I'm so glad to be here with you today.
Okay, so let's nerd out. Let's talk Wicked, because it is considered to be the front runner for costume design this year.
Sure.
And we've talked a lot on this show about Glinda's looks and how beautiful and the light fabrics and everything.
Of course.
But let's break down Elphaba's looks, because they're just as important to this film.
For sure. So we see Elphaba in very heavy textures, dark hues, which really foreshadows her plight as a character, right? It's kind of hinting at her, you know, feeling other, feeling different. It's talking about how weighed down she is through her story arc. So I think that's a really great contrast into Glinda's kind of lighter layers. She's kind of transparent in her costuming, which kind of foreshadows into how transparent she was in her motives, right? We can see her very self-serving motives. They're very clear to us as audience.
Spoiler alert.
Okay, spoiler alert, y'all. Sorry.
I like the the attention to detail with the green mannequin there as well.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the meticulous costume design in Nosferatu, that gothic style. What went into making that world come to life?
I mean, this is a beautifully costumed film, and I think when we meet Ellen in that first scene, she is ghostly in her own right. This gauzy kind of sheer gives us kind of Ghost. She is possessed, spoiler alert, in this film, and so we meet her in that possessed state. Her hair is dark and black. It's hovering over her, kind of like that Lord Orlok presence. It's foreshadowing kind of her state of mind, that she is in one way in the spirit world, in that ghostly kind of spirity kind of dress, but then she is also kind of possessed. That black column of hair is hovering over her, and it kind of immediately strikes us.
I don't think a lot of people even realize how important costumes are to the films.
Oh yes.
And in Conclave, we were talking during the break, you said this was actually one of your favorites.
One of my
was the costuming in Conclave. So talk about what they did here, the importance of this, the jewelry, and just everything they used.
Yes, so Conclave is, oh my gosh, I'm rooting for Wicked, but I love Conclave. So here we have Cardinal Goffredo, and he comes into the scene as a diva, okay? This cape is voluminous. He thinks that he is the front runner for the papacy, so we're immediately seeing that, right? He's in red, which is a papal color. This cape has volume, and speaking to his inflated ego, he kind of steps into kind of the conclave, assuming he's the winner, right? And we kind of get that that idea of him here. He is pronounced, okay? He wants to take up space and be noticed. The costume designer did a great job of utilizing jewelry to storytell about the cardinals' social kind of standing, and also their political standing and religious standing. So cardinals who had gold crosses and even wooden crosses were more conservative. So we see Cardinal Tremblay, spoiler alert, who kind of exposes another cardinal for their sexual indiscretions. He's more conservative, right? So he would find that as a way to kind of attack his enemy. Where we see Cardinal Bellini, who's more liberal. He talks about his receptiveness to LGBTQ rights, wanting women to have more of a place in the curia. He's adorning a silver cross. So the silver are kind of more liberal. The more traditionalists and conservatives have wooden and gold jewelry.
I wouldn't even notice that.
Fascinating. All I know is that you're auditioning for Pope right now.
No, that's a regal outfit for sure.
Let's keep it in Rome, as a matter of fact. Gladiator 2.
Oh yeah.
Janty Yates worked on the first Gladiator as well. Back again for this. How'd it go this time around?
I mean, we meet those unhinged twin emperors in the very beginning, adorning kind of that white armor, and that really speaks to their bloodthirst, spoiler, as warlords. They are obsessed with expanding the Roman Empire through war, and they greet Acacius when he comes back to Rome, and their armor is pristine. It's almost jokingly, the costume designer is hinting at they are bloodthirsty, they want to expand the Roman Empire, but they have no skin in the game, right? They didn't even leave Rome. The white armor is bloodless, no stains. And then we also meet Denzel Washington's character, Marcius, and he is kind of, I think, a wonderful character in that he is expressing two things in his costuming, his sexuality and also his wealth. And so, first of all, we see color very brightly in that character's costuming. And back then in Rome, dye was very expensive, particularly blue dye, which is in his costume design. It had to travel from Afghanistan. And so it's pronouncing early on, this is a wealthy man. He has power and he has means. It's also the color pronouncing how he wants to be noticed in Rome, right? He really wanted to take up space and make his way into society. So the color is pronouncing that. that we see him adorned in kind of delicate gold hoops and what would be considered more feminine costume and jewelry, and that kind of hints to his sexuality. There's, spoiler alert, a talk in the film and a kiss off camera with a man. So I think the costume designer did a really great job of storytelling about that character's motive, sexual orientation, and his position in society through his costume.
Sending a message for sure. Okay, let's head over here because we want to show a couple of these costumes. We have to talk about A Complete Unknown because this, of course, is a biopic. So costuming is so important in a biopic because you want to be authentic.
Yes.
So talk about these looks.
So this film is actually through a short period of time, 1961 to 1965. So we're grounded in a very specific period. However, we see Bob Dylan's style and just his character evolve and grow, right? We meet him in the beginning of the film, costume similar to what we have here, fresh off of the bus, kind of in a Midwestern cowtown kind of style, right? And then he is journeying through the film and evolving. He's getting through his freewheeling era. And then we see the culmination of his style, right? When he gets into his electric era, the era that we all love, right? Where he just arrives at Newport and performs. And that really is an exclamation point on his style. We see him in that very kind of modern, kind of slim-fitting silhouette, which marks like, he's gone, y'all. No more Midwestern boy. He's off the farms, right? He's in New York. He's feeling himself. He has stepped into his electric era. So the costume designer did a great job of just taking us through his evolution as an artist and kind of discovering himself. And then we see that through his style. I think she spoke about Timothée Chalamet had 67 different costumes throughout this film.
Wow.
Yeah. Lots of storytelling.
That's amazing. We both live in Brooklyn. I feel like we'll see this weekend. Just walking around.
Well, you put that one on. I'll take this one.
I want this jacket. Anyway, thank you so much, Shelby, for joining us. You taught us so much. This is fascinating, multi-layered, and you can catch the 97th Annual Academy Awards. Be sure to watch and look for what everyone is wearing March 2nd, ABC.
Yes.